Okay, well, just went up to the abandoned cemetery, what's left of it anyway. I think there's going to be enough stuff that I'm filming today that I might actually just split this into 2 episodes. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, just watch the previous episode and you'll be up to speed. But anyway, getting ready to go back here in the woods to a spot that my grandpa showed me whenever I was 5 years old. And it's actually kind of a cool looking old structure, but it is a decent walk back there. So we're going to be kind of out in the middle of nowhere. Seems to have really cleared up and the sun is really out now, but earlier we got a ton of rain, so hopefully it's not going to be too wet. Well, we had quite the deluge of rain earlier today, and this creek that I need to cross is a little bit higher than normal. Oh boy. Yep, this is slick as heck. This is a dumb idea, but I'm doing it anyway. JD, you moron. Okay, hold out, just a little bit more. And, okay. Hey, made it without a wet boot. So I'm on my way back to this old structure that I was talking about that my grandpa showed me whenever I was 5. I just came up on this little house and I don't remember it. You can see it's kind of cool. A tree has grown around it. It's got this mossy roof. Looks like something out of a painting. I'm actually going to go up here and see what's inside this thing. Huh. Interesting. I have no idea what I'm looking at right now. But it looks kind of creepy. Alright, I actually just went back and found this big old stick because I want to see how deep this thing is in here. Let's see if I can adjust my lighting. Oh man, that might be a wet boot. And holy smokes, that thing is deep. Oh my gosh. This is where my overactive imagination gets the best of me, because I'm imagining some sort of creature jumping out. That's a good 5.5 or 6 feet down. Huh. If anybody has an idea what this place is, feel free to let me know. Interesting. In the late 1800s, a guy by the name of Henry Bessemer developed a more efficient and cheap way of making steel, which ended up being called the Bessemer process. So with that, the demand for iron, which was already in high demand anyway, really went up, because now we're kind of entering into the steel age. Well, this particular area right here, underneath the ground, is really rich in iron ore. So there was a little mining community that developed right here. And like I said, my grandpa brought me back here whenever I was 5 years old, shared a little bit of history with me. We're going to be going to a blast furnace that was built in 1870. And it seriously looks like something right out of an Indiana Jones movie. tell me that this doesn't look like something out of Raiders of the Lost Ark. You can go to Rome and see ruins. You can go to Athens and see ruins. Or you can take a little drive close to your house and go see some ruins of your own. Man, oh man. This is an old blast furnace that was used for smelting iron ore from the 1800s. Now, this blast furnace was built in 1870 and employed a lot of people right here in this general area. Now, I don't want to sell myself as an expert when it comes to mining or metallurgy or anything like that. Here's what I do know. That chemically, iron does not like to be by itself. Usually finds itself bonding up with oxygen, which is why whenever you leave something iron out and it gets wet, now it turns to rust, or it gets rusty. Well, that's where these blast furnaces come in, because we need to get iron into a useful form, which means that we need to separate it from the oxygen. Okay, now here's how a blast furnace from the 1800s would work. And if I get something a little bit off, I'll make a correction in the description, so you'll have to give me a little bit of grace. So there are 3 different components that would go into this blast furnace. You would have your iron ore, of course, and then you would also need a fuel, which came in the form of coke, which is kind of a derivative of coal, and then also limestone, which serves as something called a flux. It would help maintain the flow. And then, if you look right here, this little hole in the side is known as the Tuyere arch. So air would get blasted into this end, everything would get superheated, and then, let me come around here, you would have this molten material that would flow out of the front, which is called the casting arch. Okay, and then at the casting arch, they would separate this material of limestone and waste that was called slag. And at the very bottom, you'd have your molten iron that would be put into forms called pig iron. Put that on the railroad, and then send it up to a steel refinery to be made into steel. I would like to be able to go up there and kind of get a look down into the furnace, but you can see the structure is kind of busted up and those rocks are wet. And I promised my wife that I wouldn't do anything stupid because she doesn't know how to get back here to where I'm at and there's no cell service. So yeah, I don't want to do anything dumb. Okay, we're actually going to go up here and just take a quick look. We're just going to be extra careful as we get up here, though. Oh my. And, oh, JD, don't do anything dumb. Oh, wow, yeah. So this, yeah, it looks like it's all kind of filled in now. But this does look kind of cool. So this is where they would put the limestone and the iron ore and the coke. And then down there is where you would have your molten iron and the slag come out. Yeah, interesting. Looks like it's got a brick lining on the inside. Huh. Okay, now this is on the opposite side of the Tuyere arch, and I mean, it's some sort of metal, But I'm going to confess that I don't really know what that is. So maybe somebody that knows more about this than me can inform the rest of us. Okay, so now I'm at the back side of the furnace. We can get a little bit better idea of how the thing looked from here. So there's the collapsed side over there on the front. And man, you really have to have respect for the people that built this. They didn't have big cranes or modern technology, but they were still able to put this thing together and figure it out and engineer it. Pretty smart. We tend to think of our culture as the smartest one that's ever lived. We've got more technology that's, advanced, but I don't know if we're smarter, because I think we'd have a hard time figuring this one out. I was talking about slag earlier, and here's a piece of slag, and this stuff is just laying around all over the place. And it's really kind of neat. I mean, you can see up here, looks just like cooled lava, and then limestone beneath. So this is just the waste product from the furnace. And like I said, this is laying around all over. Kind of cool. Well, this is probably about 400 or 500 yards from the blast furnace, but this behind me right here is the old ore pit that they would mine all of the iron ore in this area out of. And to the best of my understanding, I mean, obviously it's filled in, just looks like a lake now. To the best of my understanding, it's about 50, 60 feet deep. Kind of interesting to think that even though this is all woods and big timber now, it was once an area that it's kind of the source of people's livelihood. Like I said, there was a community around here, and people that mined and worked this area contributed to the growth of the steel industry in the late 1800s. And now it's all gone, lost to history, except for just a few little things here and there. I'm so thankful that my grandpa took me back here whenever I was 5 years old, like I've mentioned a couple times already. I'm so thankful that he brought me back here and showed me these places and shared this history with me. Because now I can take it, share it with my kids, and we can keep these little pieces of history alive. So you don't have to travel all over in order to experience and to see history. Sometimes it's just right close to your house, right in your backyard, within driving distance. So always be looking for different opportunities to learn. All right, well, that's it. I don't really want to get into the details, but let's just say that I didn't exactly make it back to the truck with dry feet.